Comic Book Savant, episode 407. Welcome back to the Comic Book Savant podcast. I'm your host, James Harris. This episode, we're going to be doing a spoiler review of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So if you haven't had a chance to see the movie yet, don't fret. I got you covered. If you go over to youtube.com/Comic Book Savant, I have a non-spoiler review up now live for you to watch if you're on the fence about if you're going to go see the movie or not. Again, it'll be about a 3 to 5, 6 minute video with no spoilers, with just a generalized review of the film. Go watch that if you haven't seen it yet. Once you've seen the movie, come back, check this out. You won't wreck anything for yourself. You don't spoil yourself on it. So just giving this PSA right up front, so I'm not ruining anything for anyone. With that being said, before we get into the episode, I'd like to give a shout out to my friends over at the Comics Podcast Network. You can find them over at comicspodcast.com. If you like what I do here and you're looking for more similar content, comic book related content, definitely take a moment to stop by the Comics Podcast Network over at comicspodcast.com. There are literally hundreds of different podcasts listed there that are related to comic books. Some are based on publishers, individual characters, or teams. You have a single-person format like myself. They have our dual host. There's a lot of different shapes, sizes, and varieties of shows out there. It is just a one-stop shop for you to explore and find other comic book-related content that's out there on the internet for you to consume via podcast. Some are videos as well. So definitely, if you have a moment, check that out. Also, as always, this episode is sponsored by InStockTrades.com. One of the best places you can go online to find your collected editions, any and all your collected edition needs. Anything ranging from, they have manga, they have like the oversized issues like Action Comics 1000, anything that are bound editions they carry, Marvel Masterworks, DC Absolute Editions, oversized printing. IDW had their ultimate collection, oversized bound collections now. All of that stuff they have over at InStockTrades.com. They have discounts starting around 35% off to 42%, up to 50% off with their deals of the week. As well, if you're a U.S.-based customer and you place an order $50 or more, you get free shipping within the U.S., which is a great bonus. If you happen to be someone that lives outside of the U.S., listening to this, they have some of the most competitive international shipping rates around, so you can still save a ton of money, and to spend more on books that you can get locally. So definitely is something worth checking out. InStockTrades.com. They've been a long time supporter of the show. I thank them for their support. And now let's kind of dive into this. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. We've been seeing things for this movie for a while. It's gotten a lot of buzz on the internet. A lot of reviewers and stuff had seen this movie like 2 weeks ago, and it was running rampant all over the internet. I try to avoid as much as I possibly could. I didn't want anything to be spoiled for me. As more and more information and trailers came out about the movie, the more and more excited my anticipation was for seeing this movie. It was definitely unique in a lot of different ways, which I'm going to talk about a little later. But just to give some of the basic premise, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was directed by Rodney Rotham, Peter Ramsey, and Bob Persichetti. It was written by Phil Lord and Rodney Rotham. And the breakdown is as follows. Miles Morales becomes the Spider-Man of his reality and crosses paths with his counterparts from other dimensions to stop a threat to all reality. And just to give you a rundown of the cast, and this was a humongous and very diverse and very accomplished cast. We had Shameik Moore as Miles Morales. Many know him from the movie Dope that came out a few years ago. We have Jake Johnson from New Girl fame as Peter B. Parker. We have Haley Steinfeld as Gwen Stacy, or Spider-Gwen. We have Mahershala Ali as Uncle Aaron, also known as the Prowler. We have Brian Tyree Henry as Jefferson Davis. Lily Tomlin as Aunt May. She's a legend in comedy. I was surprised when I saw that. I was like, I recognize that voice. When I looked at the credits, I was like, oh wow, it was Lily Tomlin. We have Luna Lauren Velez as Rio Morales. We have Zoe Kravitz as Mary Jane. We have John Mulaney as Spider-Ham, Peter Parker, the Amazing Spider-Ham. We have Kimiko Glenn as Penny Parker. Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man Noir, which he totally killed. Catherine Hahn as Doc Ock, a female doc. I can't remember what her name, Viv or Liv, something like that. She was amazing. I really loved her. Liv Shriver was Wilson Fisk. And I had to look this up. I didn't even catch it in the credits. I had to go on IMDb when I was making sure I had all the cast in here. Chris Pine was actually briefly in the movie as the Spider-Man of Miles's reality that we meet at the beginning of the movie. The voice was done by Chris Pine. For some reason, I thought it was Ryan Reynolds. I was like, I know the voice. And it was bothering me that I didn't know it. So once I got home from seeing the movie, I looked it up. I was like, it was Chris Pine. I was like, awesome. So he makes a cameo appearance in the movie. This movie was visually amazing. Just the different styles and textures and layers of animation that they did. This is a visual. I can't even put into words. It's just something visually we've never seen on screen before, and I loved it. I loved the meshing of the 3D parts of it. Looked like traditional animation with CGI stuff, and it was something totally different. It was totally groundbreaking and revolutionary. The different techniques they used. I thought, at points I thought it might be too busy. It might be distracting. It wasn't. It kept you visually engaged throughout the whole movie, even when it was just like maybe slower scenes where it was just people sitting and talking. Just the layering of the different animation styles just was a treat. It was just a visual treat. Is basically the only thing I can really say about it. The cast, the voice performances, I thought were really solid across the board. The different visual gags they did, like when they did like their origin issue and things like that, really worked for me. A lot went on. I saw a lot of taglines, even like places on Facebook and stuff like that, where people were like, "This is the greatest Spider-Man movie ever." I like this movie a lot. I think I love it too, but I don't think it is the best of all time. I think it's up there though. I really had to sit down and think about it. And me and my wife were talking about it when we left the theater. Like, is this the best Spider-Man movie of all times? Because I've heard that claim thrown out so many times all over the internet and on YouTube and, everywhere else. I see that headline, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the best Spider-Man movie ever. It's up there. For me, it's number 2. I still love Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming. I think, as far as if I had to rank Spider-Man movies, I would put this movie number 2 behind. So I would put Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, probably Spider-Man 2. I always talk about this, or the 2.5 edition. That was on the original Blu-ray box set. I don't even know if you can get that cut of the movie. That had the extended fight scene on the subway between Doc Ock and Spider-Man. The first Raimi Spider-Man. Then the reboot, the Garfield, that would be the next one. And then pulling in the rear would be, they both were kind of bad. But I'd probably say Spider-Man 3 next. The worst one was probably Amazing Spider-Man 2. I think it was, or the Amazing Spider-Man. That last one that the Garfield was in, that's garbage. So that would probably, that's how I would rank them. So it would be Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man 2 or 2.5, Spider-Man, Raimi Spider-Man. What else did I say? Spider-Man 3. No. Amazing Spider-Man. Spider-Man 3 and Amazing Spider-Man 2. Because it's been 7 now. That's 7. I think so. That would be from best to worst for me. Comment in the comment section or message me and let me know what you guys think about my ranking of the movies. If you've seen, I'm hoping if you've gotten this far into the episode that you've actually seen this movie, because I hate spoiling stuff for people. And like I said at the very beginning of the episode, pause this till you actually saw the movie, then come back. It was so fun. It was so much fun, this movie. Just, everything from, we got our Stan Lee cameo that, carried so much more weight now that we've lost him. I love during the credits, the very end of the movie, the dedication they made to him in there. It was a classic. This movie is a classic. This is a movie like me and my wife were talking about it when we left on our ride home, and we just were saying like, this is a movie that I can buy and I can just have it playing over and over again, like in the background. The action sequences were so cool. It had a balance of serious story, comedy, coming of age story, all the things that you expect. And I have to say this, man. Lord and Miller had caught some slack after the whole Star Wars thing and the whole situation with Solo or whatever. But you can tell, like, they were the producers of this. They love Spider-Man. Like, you felt the love that was put into this movie from the top to even the smallest performances. Like Chris Pine's performance in his cameo in the beginning of the movie is grade A work. Nobody phoned anything in on this movie, and you could feel it. That's what makes it special to me. It's like you felt the love and attention for this character. And I've loved Spider-Man since I was a little kid. And all the little callbacks and Easter eggs. It's so much stuff. It's like this movie, they did something that a lot of comic book movies strive to do. They made a very universal movie for everyone. If you've never read a comic book before, you can go and enjoy this movie. If you're a huge comic book nerd, but maybe you didn't read a lot of Spider-Man, you can go and enjoy this movie. If you've read Spider-Man or read Ultimate Spider-Man or read Miles Morales' story, you're going to love it as well. It was packed with so much stuff, and I feel like this is the movie you can watch over and over again, and each time you'll watch it, you'll see another layer of something that you missed the time before, and the time before, and the time before. I truly believe that, because it's just dripping with comic book goodness. It's like it was a sensory overload of comic book goodness in the soul. I felt it. I know you felt it. I see you. I see you trying to hide it. It's coming out. It's coming out. I felt it too. It gave me the shivers and the chills. And I haven't seen that, especially with animation. Like, they killed it through, like, animation as well. And like I said, it was groundbreaking, but they hit all the notes. And this is like a family movie. Like, I get sad sometimes because, like, I would love to take my grandson to see this movie and see him react to it. I would love to have that moment to be able to do that. I mean, I kind of had that when he came to visit me. And during the summer, he's a huge Teen Titans Go fan, and I took him, and he was just so into it, and it was just such a cool experience sharing that moment with him, even though I had like no interest whatsoever in the movie, because I can't stand Teen Titans Go. But it was just awesome seeing his wild and him that like it growing his love for something that's been a big part of my life, which is comic books, and to see like through that cartoon, like it's a gateway for him. And the wonderment and amazement in his eyes and just how he lit up, like that takes a lot of skill to be able to do that, especially nowadays with how much so much is saturated by social media and the internet and YouTube and things like that, to still be able to capture the simple awe and magic of a film. And I don't know. It's so hard to put into words, but this movie is definitely special on so many. It hit so many marks that I wasn't expecting it to hit. And I just feel like it's going to be a classic. So I guess when it comes down to it, if I had to rate this movie, I give it an 8.5 out of 10. I couldn't get it to 9 or to 10. I felt like a few parts of the movie were a little slow, but it was set up, and they set up a world, and and if I don't know if everyone stayed to the very, very end of the credits because they were long, but I did. Man, and they set up stuff. Stuff is coming. They set up a few things, so I don't know if you saw like one scene. You see, you see Miles laying in the bed, and you see like the lights of like a portal opening up, and you hear Gwen saying, "Do you have a moment?" And he was like, "Sure." So there's something set up with Miles and Spider-Gwen. And then we see at the very, 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 very end of all the credits, you see that, I can't remember what his name is, Spider-Man 2099, you see a setup where now he has a device and now he's going back, and he goes all the way back to the 60s, to the original old Spider-Man cartoon, and he approaches Spider-Man and tells him to come with him, and it's funny. They get into I don't know if you saw it, but they get into a whole argument, and like the cops are trying to figure out who to shoot, and it's a whole funny thing. So it's set up there. So it's already been announced. Joaquin de los Santos and Lauren Montgomery, they were the latest. They worked on Avatar: The Last Airbender. They worked on Legend of Korra. And they just finished up Voltron, Legendary Defender. They've signed them. Lauren Montgomery, she's going to be doing I think they just tentatively said it's going to be like a Spider-Women focused movie that she's going to be directing. And then Joaquin is going to be doing, I don't know if he's going to do the proper sequel to Into the Spider-Verse. Or not, but they have two things that they're going to start. They're already working on that they announced right after this came out. When the premiere hit, they announced those two are signed, and they're working on individual movies that are going to be coming down the pike. And I can't wait for it because this was so much fun. How they set up the characters in the world. I want to see more of it in this style of animation. It's truly breathtaking. This movie was a lot of fun. There's no other thing specifically that I really want to, to spoil or to go into. It's just a really fun movie. I don't know if you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Like I said, from a time that I was a kid, I used to draw. If you ever go to comicbooksavant.com, you'll see old drawings that I did. I think in the gallery section of when I used to draw, I used to be heavy into artwork. And for a stretch of my life when I was a kid, I thought I was going to be a comic book artist. I've told this story before. I even won an internship to draw for Marvel, won a little contest, and I won an internship when I was super young. And one of my biggest regrets in my life, I didn't go at the time, and I always regretted it. But I thought for the longest time that, I've always been attracted to art. That was originally what got me into comic books as a kid. The artwork, the pretty pictures is what drew me in. And then, I evolved over time, and then it became the writing. Then it's the mixture of the two, and it's a very unique medium. So the stuff they do with art here, and the artwork and the animation is just, like I said, it's top level. It hasn't been done before, not executed on this level, and not with this level of mastery. It's a sight to behold. It's just worth the price of admission to see the visuals that are displayed throughout this movie. And then you get the bonus of the story, the bonus of all the comic book tropes and tie-ins and Easter eggs. And then it's just an overall fun, good, family, entertaining movie that you can take the whole family to and just enjoy that movie. And it's hard to say that nowadays when it comes to films, that you can actually have a movie that you can take the whole family to see, and it hits all the marks for all the different age groups in your family, that everyone could have fun, enjoy it, and it hits the marks for those individuals. I think you could take a whole family and everybody would enjoy it for one reason or one level or another. So that's all I really have to say about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I want more. Please give me more soon. Also, if you guys haven't checked it out, I want you to go over to serialatmidnight.com or youtube.com, Serial at Midnight. Me and Heath did a video version of Spinner Rack Bros. It's something we were playing around with. We did we talked about the Scott Pilgrim movie. It was really fun. The video and the audio is not the best. We were recording over Skype. It was our first time. Again, like I mentioned last episode, we're doing different things. I'm trying, like I said, we're continuing to push and evolve. Myself, him with Serial at Midnight and his website, me and my website. We're going to be doing way more collabs and stuff together, and we're going to be doing them in different formats. We're going to be doing more video going into next year. As far as me and the YouTube channel, I'm going to start looking to maybe do some live streaming, maybe even take Comic Book Savant on Twitch and do some live stuff. Streaming through that. I'm still in the process of figuring it out, but that's where I was saying, your guys' support has been everything this past year. Your continued support. Check out the Patreon campaign. I picked up a few new patrons since the last episode. I appreciate all you guys' support. Is going to make this, better. I have big plans for the brand. I can't say just a podcast anymore because it's become so much more with your guys' help. So, me and Spinner Rack Bros, that has taken off. You guys have enjoyed that. Me and Heath have a ball doing it. So more of that's going to be coming, and that's going to be evolving as well. Like I said, more video coming. We try to take this show on the road going into 2019 and do some different stuff. So again, your support is everything. Check out patreon.com/Comic Book Savant. Check out the Teespring store if you haven't already. We got the hoodies up there. We got the 2 t-shirt designs. If any of you guys are artists and y'all want to hook a brother up with some t-shirt designs, I want to keep throwing different new merch up there. So if you guys have some designs that you want to come up with for the show, like maybe some of my quirky sayings or something like that, some cool designs, anything you can contribute to help support the show, that I can do some cool t-shirt designs or something like that, I'm down for it. I would greatly appreciate it. Like I said, everything that you guys help me with goes back into making the show better. So, and I'm so excited. You guys have me so stoked. I've been getting more and more you guys reaching out. Feedback and communication is everything. The more I hear back from you guys, it jazzes me up even more and pushes me even harder to make this show better and better. So I've been hearing and getting mad love from you guys, and it means so much, more than you ever know. So if you listen to this podcast and you've never emailed me before, take a minute. You can hit me up on Instagram at Comic Book Savant, on Twitter, wherever. As soon as I get the message, I will respond to you. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you would like for me to do. Like to hear me and Heath cover for Spinner Rack Bros. Just take a second. It means so much when I hear from you guys, and it motivates me that much more. So don't stop doing it now. I appreciate it, and it's got me hyped going into 2019. I think I'm more jazzed up than I have been in a while, just where the potential, where I see the show going with your guys' help. So we're gonna get it. We about to get this. So we got I will definitely have next week. We'll have an Aquaman spoiler review here on the channel. I might, even before the end of the year, I might even have Bumblebee as well. I'm not 100% committed to it yet. I will be figuring that out this week because so much stuff is dropping this week at the theaters. So I'm going to be trying to get out and see as much as possible. So you might be bombarded with movie reviews over the next few episodes, just based on what I get out to go see, and and if I had the time to just sit down and do it with the holidays coming. At latest, you'll get it at the beginning of the new year, but I'm going to try to get it all done between now and the end of the year for sure. But that's all I have for you for this episode of Comic Book Savant. As always, I'm your host, James Harris. You guys have a good week, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.